Sometimes God brings two broken people together not to fix each other, but to help each other heal. Amara was a nurse who lost her fiancé in a car accident just weeks before their wedding. For months, she couldn't smile. Her faith wavered, and her heart was buried under pain. Every night, she sat by her window whispering, "God, how do I live when my future is gone?" In another part of town, Samuel was battling his own storm. He had survived a building collapse that took his younger brother's life. Though he lived, guilt consumed him. He stopped going to church, stopped praying, and isolated himself from everyone who loved him. But God, in his mysterious way, arranged a meeting neither of them expected. One evening, Samuel was rushed to the hospital after collapsing from exhaustion. Amara was the nurse on duty. When she walked into his ward and saw his wristband named Samuel, she felt something strange, like a divine pull. Over the next few weeks, she cared for him with gentleness. She noticed the way he prayed quietly before taking medicine. He noticed how she smiled even when she was clearly hurting. Slowly, conversations began about pain, loss, and faith. One day, Samuel asked, "Do you ever stop missing them?" Amara looked down and replied, "No, but you start remembering them with peace instead of pain." Something in that moment changed them both. They began to see that their survival wasn't punishment, it was purpose. After his discharge, Samuel visited the hospital often, bringing food for patients. One day, he told Amara, "You reminded me what hope looks like again." She smiled, "And you reminded me that faith can still breathe after loss." Months later, they decided to start a community project together, a support group for people who had lost loved ones. They called it Beauty from Ashes. As they helped others heal, they realized that God was healing them too. During the group's one-year anniversary, Samuel stood up to share his story. But then, unexpectedly, he turned to Amara and said, "You were the miracle I didn't see coming. When I thought life was over, God used you to prove that love never dies, it just changes form." He knelt down and proposed. Amara wept as she said yes. Their union wasn't built on perfection, but on purpose. Together, they became living proof that even in tragedy, God still writes new beginnings. Their story reminds us that pain is not the end of your story, it is the soil where God grows your greatest testimony. Love doesn't erase loss, it redeems it. If this story moved your heart, subscribe for more faith-filled stories that remind you that God still turns ashes into beauty and pain into purpose.